Room shake, shake, shake the roof.
Room.
Whatever.
Don't give up the day job.
Hello, cock.
Sorry, I didn't know you were going.
I did it for you. I got you.
Cock.
Hello, everyone, and welcome
Cocky.
to. You're not allowed this Kai's thing now. You can't throw me.
Genuinely, I've done it once. The joke's over.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Luke.
carry on.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. And fuck.
Please put these at the beginning of the Botchamania one.
He's doing it.
Figure 4 Radio. Lock it in. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Nice.
That is nice. Lovely.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Figure 4 Radio. This is a Figure 4 Radio for iTunes, Stitcher, and our website is figure4radio.weebly.com. My name is The Killer Car Brand, and we are here to talk all about Botches.
Botchamania.
That voice right there is, well, you know him already. It's the mastermind, is Ollie Spring.
Goodbye. I mean, fuck. Hello. I've done it. Can we redo that? Oh no, we're live.
No, we're live, so we can't cut anything out to prove how shit we actually are at doing this live. Anyway, to the exact opposite of me is the Luco Mac.
Hello.
So you got that right.
I did, yeah.
You didn't botch the intro.
I'm not botching the
You haven't
intro
got
this
the-
time
yeah.
around.
You have not got the hang of this Botchamania.
No. Oh, no, I'm going to botch stuff throughout. I thought I might as well start with the good stuff and I'm going to botch everything on the way out, so it's fine.
Great. So if you haven't guessed, we are here to talk about Botches. Now, from the last podcast last week, again, iTunes, Stitcher, Podomatic, whatever, you said you loved Botch and Botchamania and Botches and God knows what.
One of the best things about the wrestling community has got to be Botchamania.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
They've got their own...
I literally, as soon as I see on Facebook the new one's out, I'm straight on it. It's like Christmas every time it comes out.
I mean, they've got their own sort of channel and God knows what.
I think it's the best thing to come out of Newcastle.
Do you want to slap?
Wow. No, I think it's wrestling is a live action production show thing. I think it just we're only human. It's kind of nice. Personally, I like seeing Botches because it proves that it is real, it is live, that they're not perfect, and it's not a CGI thing we're watching. It kind of adds a humane level to it.
Well, look at gymnastics in the Olympics. Yes, they rehearse it over and over and over again, but sometimes they botch
They're always
something.
falling off the horse or slipping out the rings or whatever.
Which is basically why we watch the Olympics.
I'm not going to go there.
No, I was just going to cover it over.
Slipping out of rings, no. But it's like
That's a botch right there.
Yeah, damn right.
Well, it's like when you go to. I'm trying to think of a good example, and I can't.
When you go to a theatre.
Well, no, I was going to
yeah.
go when you go to like the circus, and basically you want to see someone get hurt. Ultimately, that's what it is. It's like watching Jackass on telly. You want to see these cool stunts, but when someone gets hurt, it's even more entertaining and funny. When it goes wrong is when it's funny.
I don't know whether I would want to go to the circuit to see them get... But I mean, you go to the circus and they're chucking knives at you. You kind of... This could go horribly wrong. Do you really want to see that?
I wouldn't agree with that, because if I just wanted to watch stuff go wrong, I'd watch CZW. Because, you know...
Oh, we've got major heat with them if they ever listen to us. I can't think... I know there's good examples where the only reason people watch is for something to go wrong or for someone to get hurt. But that's kind of... That's the element of what botching is all about in wrestling is... It's amazing when it goes right, but when it goes wrong, you get... I don't know, it just kind of...
There's always that anticipation of something could go wrong.
Yeah.
You don't expect it though, do you?
No, you think they're trained, they're professional, you think, this, they know what they're doing, essentially.
But for me, a good wrestling match is when you believe it. So when... For example, recently, didn't Kalisto jump over and Ryback had to pretty much catch it before
that was brilliant, because he was doing like a corkscrew step-up plancher over the top rope by stepping off the middle rope, and he kind of just ended up just somersaulting, and he would have literally just come straight down neck first on the apron.
If you go on to youtube.com/F4TV, we commentated on a match. It's Kai Payne versus Oliver Peace. Kai Payne was doing a suicide dive out of the ring. Spot right there. Onto Oliver Peace. He caught his... I think he's caught his foot.
Caught his foot on the
I don't think you
ropes.
can see it because you masterly cut that and edit
I may have edited the angles a little bit so that, you
can't quite tell. But we were there, we saw the raw footage, and you could tell he pretty much caught his foot and went slam down. Oliver kind of caught him, so he didn't hurt himself too much. But yeah, that's a...
Still, it was a good match, though.
Oh, yeah.
But I think one thing that I love recently is how big Botchamania is getting in live. So let's throw back to NXT, the last NXT takeover in Dallas. In the tag match, there was a big botch spot where they went for a power. It was the Revival versus American Alpha, I think it was. They went for the power bomb into like the kind of, it's almost like the Doomsday device. Right. So he brings up into the power bomb, and while he's holding him up, the guy comes off the top rope, clotheslines him, and then slams him down. Yeah. And they fucked that up big time. And the whole crowd all of a sudden, Botchamania. And then I think 2 weeks later on NXT TV, they hit the move on a bunch of jobbers and hit it right, and then he just gets someone and goes, "There's your Botchamania, idiots!"
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, and it's like, and I mean, Botchamania is even starting to be mentioned in promos. I think it was Bram that mentioned it on the way to the ring, or maybe Eric Young. But yeah, I don't know. It's just. It's a weird thing. The whole wrestling community in the world, there's nothing quite like it. I don't think.
It's fantastic.
Where you can have an entire like website dedicated to shit going wrong and actually potentially embarrassing the art form, but actually people embrace it and they love it.
I like the fact that it's not just limited to what goes wrong in the ring. They have the whole calling spots that you can hear clearly.
Everybody talks.
Everyone talks. You can have like all the promos that go wrong, and
I think to me, when a promo goes wrong, that's potentially the most entertaining, because you can kind of visually see, because the camera's so focused on someone's face.
The one you alluded to in the intro, the Sid Vicious one, where he was live.
We're live, pal. Yeah. Like,
JR covered that one rather well.
He tried. Isn't the one where they were doing a promo again at WCW, Booker T said the N-word, and then I just look on his face afterwards.
He called Hulk Hogan, of all people, Mr. America, he called him the N-word, and that was... Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't end his career, to be honest.
I'm glad it didn't.
But didn't Vince McMahon have a spot with Booker T, like maybe a decade or so later, and he said the N-word to John Cena.
Yeah, that was.
And then Booker T was like in the background going, "He did not just say that." Like that was bizarre. That was bizarre. It's almost kind of taking it, like laughing at itself in a way.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, sometimes things like that come from botches. Other times it ends careers and is damaging. Yeah. So I suppose they're funny and they're also horrible.
There's another kind of breed of botch that I like. It's the one where it's kind of, it looks like a botch, but is it planned? Is it not planned? Like when Mick Foley took the choke slam on top of the cage and the cage broke. Like no one knows for sure if that was meant to happen.
Like, because it's quite weird how the cage swings down.
Yeah.
Like it's on some form of latch.
Yeah, it's true. But then at the same time, I don't think anyone's ever said that it was meant to happen. Everyone's always said he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I guess so.
What's Mick's just gone in? I don't care what happens. Let's just go in there and Undertaker's saying, if I chuck him down, he might potentially die. But you know what? Screw it. We'll do it anyway. It'll look awesome. Yeah. So then he comes down, tooth in his nose, going, "Ow!"
Yeah,
and obviously dies himself. But
pretty sure that's maybe not sure if you could even say "ow." It was like,
that is probably like one of the most iconic scenes in wrestling, though, isn't it?
Yes.
I'd love to be Mick Foley's dentist, just to have the money he's going to make off him.
He retired when Mick Foley did, apparently.
It's like my one and only client is now gone.
Anyway, you say.
I was going to say, what about ECW, the Shockmaster? Has that got to be the biggest botch of all time in the history ever?
I think it's got to be the biggest comedy botch of all time. Because what were they doing with a silver painted stormtrooper helmet in the first place?
I've heard some stories. First of all, the thing that I find the first thing I find weird about the shot is when they're doing the first interview segment. I think Bulldog's in it. He's got his back to the camera. In fact, you can't actually see anyone's face because everyone's all kind of standing in a circle. Terrible camera position to begin with. But what I've heard was, I think it was potentially Arn Anderson and somebody else were having a bit of a joke, and they actually put a board across the foot, so he was meant to just burst through. But they'd put this board in place to basically just try and catch him out, and it worked. And I think if that's the case, that's quite funny.
Still, like, you would think you're a professional, you shouldn't be able to, like, fall through something that is like, it's essentially a paper wall, isn't
Then
it?
it's WCW, so they're quite famous for things going wrong.
Well, let's face it, WCW was a complete botch from start to finish. But it was an enjoyable botch.
I'm sure they started off okay.
It started off all right.
Yeah.
Bishop came in, did wonders, and then
they wanted 3 ring, 60-man Royal Rumbles.
Hey, no, that was good. I did enjoy that.
Triple decker cage matches and electric chair matches.
To be fair, though, at least they did try something.
I guess, yeah.
And it was
They didn't
entertainment.
just, yeah.
And that's exactly what sports entertainment is. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest botches recently happened on a TNA One Night Only pay-per-view.
Right.
I'm not sure if you've seen this. Shelly Martinez versus Rebel.
No, I
And
haven't.
it was the complete botch. Well, for start, one thing I completely missed, and thank you, Botchamania, for showing me. Rebel was doing this really weird submission move where she was kind of like a leg bar, but then holding the other leg, basically trying to make her do the splits. And Shelly Martinez just lies there going, "Ow, my vag! Ow, my vag!" And then the ref kind of does this thing, goes, "You okay?" And she goes, "No, I said my vag hurts." Like, just weird ass stuff. But then Shelly Martinez looks like she's going for suicide dive through the ropes. I don't think Rebel was in position. Shelly Martinez just kind of hangs herself upside down in the ropes, gets bundled into the ring by Rebel, and then rolled up in the most awkward looking pin ever. It's been replayed so many times. It looks so bad. Women botches are bad enough. Well, women matches, shall I say, are bad enough. But when there's
I think that's a bit harsh. I think
very obvious botches,
that's a completely different subject. But women's wrestling in the last couple of years has got a lot better.
There's a small percentage, generally speaking, of women's matches that are good, or a small percentage of women wrestlers that are good.
Okay, yeah, I'll take
ones
the
that
wrestlers.
are good, the ones that are good are fucking amazing. But the difference between like the average female wrestlers and the good female wrestlers is such a big gap.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But I do disagree with the whole women's wrestling.
But then at the same time,
different subject,
generally, like
isn't it?
when I've done my shortlists for worst matches of the year, or worst matches of the decade or era, a lot of matches. I mean, going back before the days of Sasha Banks and people like that, a lot of the women's matches were piss poor.
To be fair, though, a lot of the women's matches ended up with, especially during the Attitude Era, of, "Oh, I've got no clothes on, therefore I've lost."
Very true.
Not really a match.
Very true. But yeah, generally speaking, a lot of the early women's matches that I've watched, let's put it that way, I'm yet to see a good women's match that didn't include some random Japanese wrestlers from the 80s.
Fair enough.
Take TNA, for example.
Yes.
I actually agree with Ollie. Their TNA wrestling was great up until the point, I believe, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff came in and they kind of swapped around to, let's bring in more of the good-looking ladies who couldn't actually wrestle.
But surely that's just old school
mentality
and mentality. And
Yeah.
you're going to get that from Hogan and Bischoff.
Yeah, which is true. But that kind of brings up Ollie's point, where women's wrestling isn't actually as good as the men's wrestling. I do agree that WWE at the minute, with all the NXT ladies that's coming up, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, amazing wrestling, and it's getting better, but I don't think it's still up to the standards that it maybe could be.
I don't think it will be until...
I don't think it's height yet.
While Eva Marie is still around, I don't think it will be. So some of her.
Can we just put her career down?
Do we remember the one where she forgot to kick out of a pinfall and just lost a match that she was meant to win? Like, I think it was against Emma, and Emma pinned her, and she was meant to kick out, and she didn't. And Emma was like, "I won? Like, are you sure?" Like, the ref was like, "Yeah, she didn't fucking kick out." Like, she's like, "Yeah, we won." And I think it was Charlotte that was tagging with Eva Marie, and the look on her face was like, "You fucking bint."
Basically, is a bit of that.
Wow.
Going back quickly to what you're saying about how we got off subject there a little bit, about how that came from a dive through the ropes.
Yeah, suicide, yeah.
Surely the biggest botch from a dive, like a suicide dive, is Taker at WrestleMania 25,
that
where he
was,
took the cameraman out.
Yeah, or didn't take the cameraman out.
He took the camera out, but not the cameraman.
That was a gnarly botch. There are, and I guess there's also the botches where it goes wrong, and instead of laughing, you cringe like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
There's one on, I don't know who it is. It's a Facebook video I've seen where someone's doing this insane moonsault, somersault, twisting thing, and he lands on his head. And he,
was this in like a sports hall?
Yes.
And he was at the corner, and instead of landing in the ring, he actually ended up landing outside of the ring.
Don't think he landed outside, but the guy who obviously was meant to receive the bomb, let's just say, kind of got up and realised he's actually hurt. I need to end this.
Yeah.
Pinned him.
Yeah.
The guy kicked out, and there was something that said like, no, "Dude, you are fucked."
Yeah.
3, and he was out of there.
Yeah, game over.
So botches and injuries obviously is not a good thing. For example, Stone Cold Steve Austin with Owen Hart.
oh, yeah, that was pretty bad.
What move is that? Because it's kind of a tombstone.
Sit out tombstone sort of thing,
They
wasn't
all, like, I watched a few videos earlier and stuff and whatnot, and a lot of people are calling it the tombstone power driver,
Yeah.
which for me, I don't think it is.
No, the tombstone's a power driver. It's the
it? You
tombstone.
go down on your
it's-
knees, yeah.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
that.
Whereas this one, I've always just thought was
Backwards power driver.
I just thought it was just a pile driver.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can see obviously why it's been outlawed now, but that really was such a bad move.
But then to say that Austin still won the match was weird.
Did you see that roll up? It
wasn't really. And I felt bad for Owen because he had to just lie there and like all he had to do was sneeze and his shoulder would have been lifted. But that took some balls to kind of carry on with the original planned ending, I guess.
But then it took some balls to carry on with, like, what did he do? Was it fractured his neck?
Yeah.
Like fractured the vertebrae in his neck. That took some balls to carry on.
Yeah.
hardly carried on. It's just a roll up.
Well, yeah, I guess, but unlike Sin Cara, who broke his finger and then wanted to call the match off.
Oh yeah.
It's been a while, actually.
Another suicide dive through a rope.
It's been a while since Sin Cara really botched because it went through a period where every match she would have a botch.
It's a different Sin Cara.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, it is.
We're
We're on like our third incarnation of Sin Cara.
Okay.
So the one that was all the botches, I want to
fired?
Yeah, it was called. Is it something like Mystique or
Mystico.
Mystico?
Yeah. Because Mystico and there was
Mystico. Mystico was the botcher.
Okay.
And then the current one is someone else. I don't know. who it is.
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
Sin Cara
Yeah.
basically suicide from TNA.
Yeah, they just throw a mask on
Different,
someone
yeah.
and just off he
You'll
goes.
do.
Yeah.
Get out there. You got a mask. Just don't fuck up. No, I love Sin Cara for that. I'm kind of disappointed now when we get through a Sin Cara match and he hasn't fucked something up.
It's got to be a thing, hasn't it?
Yeah,
At least any Sin Cara, he might be the best technician in the ring. He like pulls out every single move. You just got to do one just for old time's sake, just for the name.
Just slip off a rope.
Can I throw another name out there?
Go on.
Khali.
Oh,
Wasn't he the one who it was a Royal Rumble battle,
eliminated himself.
He stepped himself over the top rope and but
what do they do in that situation if Cara?
well, that's it. The ref was just had to ignore it. Basically, the commentators were like, "Am I the only one that saw that?
Yeah.
Like, is this happening?"
I mean, yeah, I suppose the rules are that you have to be eliminated by your opponent to go over the top rope. So surely they could have just gone, he stepped out himself.
But
We can overlook it.
Royal Rumble, I think it was either 99 or 2000. Kane eliminated himself just by stepping over the ropes and chasing after
guess
someone, and they counted that. And I'm sure there's been other times.
Probably.
I mean, if it was an obvious, as they play out trying to get him over the top rope, that actually happened. They fell. The winner, who was meant to win the Royal Rumble, fell down. And everyone saw it, and it's a bit too obvious.
Didn't that happen with Austin once?
No, it happened with was it Cena,
with Cena and Batista. And that was when Vince ran down and popped his quads. That was a funny botch. That was hilarious. That was
because we all love
hilarious.
Vince McMahon in pain. It's the only way.
There was talk as well of the Bulldog and Lex Luger. That one or the other was meant to win. But actually, they obviously both went out, and then they just ended up saying, "Fine, you can both have it." But I think at some point, one of them was meant to win over the other.
I don't know that one.
Maybe that could just be what I've read, or it could have been. And I think there was one as well. There was one where Austin was in, and he slipped through the ropes, and he was meant to hold on and go to the last two.
Yeah.
And he slipped. Then his hands were too greasy, and he slipped off the ropes, which was quite funny as well.
I tell you, I don't know how wrestlers do it. 'Cause as we know, we mentioned before, I've done a bit of wrestling trainings, but while doing it, it's a lot of cardio. You get a lot of sweating. Trying to get any grip on anyone who else is as sweaty as you are, your hands get sweaty.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how they do it because the amount of times I've tried to whiplash somebody, but chuck somebody up into the other ring, other side of the ropes. I go and pull, the hands just slip right out. I have no idea. Especially with people like Nate Nitro, as we all know, baby oil himself up.
Yeah,
that's what Lex Luger.
He's shinier than the sun.
Exactly. God knows how those guys do it.
Can't
No wonder
look at him without going blind.
No wonder Sting wears gloves on those bits and AJ Styles.
Yeah,
Just to get a bit of grip. That's all it
guess
is. That's a botch in itself. Just getting sweaty.
Just exercise. Just exercise.
I love, and we haven't mentioned it. Does anyone remember the promo between The Rock and Mankind?
With the glasses.
Maybe. It's when
what?
His sunglasses fell off and Mankind picked them up and put them back on for him.
No.
No, do you remember that one?
Well, The Rock's been involved in so many sort of botched promos with the mic cord falling out or something like that, so he just held it himself. No, it's when The Rock's voice just went really high pitched.
Yes, I do remember
so
that.
much water, and it still went high pitched.
Wow.
And Mick Foley was just in the ring, just couldn't
Starts cracking up. I like that. Those are the fun when it kind of gets to them as well, when you can see it's affecting people. Like that's always good fun.
They are good fun. I'm trying to think. There was another one which sprang to. That was it. I saw one, and this was a really nasty one. It had Spike Dudley.
Yeah.
And he was being thrown out of a ring. And I actually think it was when he was feuding with the Dudley Boys. I think they were throwing him out. And he was meant to go through a table on the outside.
Completely
and
missed.
he missed, and he just cracked the back of his head.
That was when they were in WWE, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just nasty.
That looked painful, without a doubt.
And then you've got, obviously, the infamous Hardy Joey Styles one.
Yes.
Where he completely popped his nose. He ended up having, was it 15 stitches on the outside?
Well, he's
and
like
5 inside.
He's only got like 20% vision now, hasn't he? Or something like that.
So do you know about it, Kai? Have you seen that one?
I don't know.
So it was a tag match. No, it was a fatal 4-way. The Hardys and what were they called? Joey and
is it? No, I'm thinking Eminem. I can't remember.
It was Eminem, wasn't it? I think,
could have been.
I think it was someone like that.
Mercury, Melina, and somebody else.
Yeah, so it was, I think
Nitro,
Johnny Nitro.
Yeah,
that's it. So basically, Hardy's on the turnbuckle in the corner, and they've set the ladder up like a seesaw.
Yeah.
And they're all meant to obviously put their hands up when the ladder comes up. He completely forgets, and he gets the ladder caught straight in his face.
No, I have seen
that. And his nose just bursts.
It's just like it's like a river.
Yeah, it is horrible. Like, it's one of the worst ones. I think you think of, like, you talk about the Owen one, Owen and Stone Cold. Obviously, that shortened his career, but that one, just to watch,
it was gnarly as
really fuck. Not good.
Then Jeff Hardy's got kind of a history of botches from forgetting his cues when I think it was on Botchamania when they're calling for Jeff, you need to be over here, and they're just shouting, you get the fuck over here, you need to do a spot, to when he must have been high on drugs facing Sting.
Against Sting, he was caked. He was off his
rolled
face.
him up.
That was embarrassing.
Exactly.
That was embarrassing. But then I guess when that's your style, shit's bound to go wrong.
Yeah,
it's bound to go wrong.
I'm surprised there aren't that many more not noticeable, but there aren't that many more botches from high flyers. From like people like Rey Mysterio, and they all seem to be more kind of like, okay, Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys, they've done some. Can we just throw Matt Hardy's hair out there as a botch? He looks like Sweeney Todd. Like,
we were watching that before we came over. Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is this?
What's going on?
But yeah, it all seems to be from the slightly bigger guys that don't do these spots more often. Like, obviously, with the exception of Sin Cara, but
one of my favourite, actually, well, I know we're going back to the women, it was WrestleMania a couple of years ago with Maria Menounos, I think it was. She's wearing white trousers in she was like the celebrity entrant in a match.
Right.
And she gave someone the stink face, and whoever she gave the stink face to, they had a lot of fake tan on. And basically she stepped away looking like she'd shit herself. And I was trying so hard not to laugh, but it was hilarious.
And you bring on shitting yourself, Sid Vicious in versus The Undertaker. WrestleMania 13.
Allegedly shitting his pants.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one's
There's
maybe.
been a few wrestlers that have apparently allegedly shit themselves. Cena was one.
Really?
He allegedly shit himself on an episode of SmackDown.
It's easily done.
Hang on. Wait.
The truth comes out, Kai. The truth comes out.
I haven't done it, but a wrestler.
Your mouth is saying you haven't, but your face is saying you have.
No. I haven't. But a wrestler who I can't name for reasons that we won't go into used to tag team with Danny Mayhem.
Okay,
He was doing a flying crossbody, and we thought we'd have he's a fairly large chap. We thought, all the wrestlers thought it'd be funny if we could try and catch him.
Right.
So as he comes flying crossbody, I try and catch him. I held her for about a second, and I really had my poo face on. But instead of like falling back like you're meant to do, I fell straight down, and I swear to God, I felt a little bit of poop like really pop out and really strain. It was painful, but I did not actually shit myself. I did check, and I did not have one skid mark.
Did you go for a courtesy wipe?
Yeah. Sorry,
go for a courtesy wipe.
So that was all good. That was better than needs be. But yeah, that's an almost shitting botch. I did. I've done many botches in wrestling training. Like I've concussed somebody.
That's how you got your nickname.
Nice.
Somebody accidentally grabbed somebody's balls.
Accidentally.
You say this, Mia, former wrestling. She got me off for a small package, and as she was going to jump over, she grabbed my balls. And put me up in the pin.
Knowing her, I don't think that would have been a mistake.
I don't think that was a botch, no.
Yeah, I think that was planned.
She got a good handful of the boys, shall we say. But if you want to go to more botches from my time with the wrestlers who I trained with, why not go on to the Figure 4 YouTube page, youtube.com/F4TV Go.
You remember the first time we ever tried to do an on-camera intro for a show and we basically fucked everything up continuously for 20... Exactly. Is that still on there?
That is still on there.
There you go. Go to Figure 4 TV, F4 TV on YouTube.
Or, actually, I don't know if it is
Or is it Facebook? It's somewhere around. No. And it's like 8 minutes of us trying our best to do a wrestling intro to a show and fucking it up. And I think the one good take we had, Paul McSherry then walked just right in front of the camera like as if it wasn't there. It was just hilarious.
It was but this one will be on the YouTube page. If it isn't, it is definitely on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Figure 4 Radio.
Isn't there also one where I got owned by Robbie E?
That's on there, but that's a botch in itself.
Yeah.
No, it's just you talking to Robbie.
Me try. Well, no, my first ever the backstory for that was we knew he was there. We didn't think we could get an interview with him. Okay. And then we just went to say hi and like shake his hand. And the guys from Exposure Entertainment were just like, "Oh, do you guys want an interview with him?" We were like, "Yes." Yeah, and then all of a sudden, I kind of realised that okay, I'm about to interview Robbie E. Like, and my first interview ever, not just like I hadn't had an interview with some local guy from down the road. My very first on-camera interview was with fucking Robbie E. from from New Jersey. Yeah. TNA champion in various belts. I was like, oh, okay, and I just stumbled over every word, and he owned me.
So he was in the end holding the mic himself.
He showed me up like a motherfucker. But actually, I've since found that he's done that to a lot of people. So that's kind of his standard interview technique is to embarrass people. But yeah, I got owned at that.
But take two, when you interviewed him again, you kind of owned him back a little bit. Kind of nudged him in the...
Yeah, well, I think I gave as good as I got.
Yeah. But no, the one I'm on about, it was, I did a little bit of editing to it and basically looped it over and over again with a bit of music.
The table spot.
The
unbreakable table.
So two wrestlers who we won't mention. We're having a street fight in this sort of pubby, clubby bit. And it was a standard street fight. There was a nappy spot. And there was obviously the odd hit over the head with
like some
road
signs.
And so it come to the big end. Somebody went onto the corner. The other guy got him on the shoulders, like picked him up to do a jackknife powerbomb through the table.
Yep.
Bang, table doesn't go.
Bounced off of that motherfucker. And in fact, wasn't it the same table they tried to smash on a previous show and it hadn't broken then either? So the third show they had to do like cut a little saw line in it.
Exactly.
It was Specs was.
I was going to say, is it just a table wandering around somewhere? Just, break me, motherfucker, break me!
You cannot kill me!
He's now debuting against CM Punk in UFC.
The unbreakable table.
But yeah, go and check that one out. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Figure 4 Radio, or YouTube, youtube.com/F4TV.
I've got two botches in mind.
Go on then.
Both from WCW.
Oh yes,
piss off.
No. Yes. One of them. No,
go.
One of them is really bad. One of them was the kick that Goldberg gave Bret Hart.
Yes.
Was it the story behind that? Was Bret Hart's like nearing the end of his career saying, "Don't hurt me"?
Yeah, and he just kicked him square in the head. Bang, done.
Concussed.
That's got to be a big botch.
Yeah.
And the other one, again, another career ender, was Sid Vicious in that. Was it a fatal 4-way? I think,
don't know, but
it was something like that. And he jumped from the second rope. And. Yeah, I don't even want to describe it. Like, it hurts. He snapped his tibia and his fibia and his foot is flailing around the ring like a fish out of water. It is disgusting. I really struggled to watch it. It was horrible.
I think it's safe to say we love the botches when no one gets hurt.
Yeah. There are some really...
Or only minor gets hurt.
Hang on a second. Sorry, another one's just come to mind. How did we forget the shooting star press? We don't even know who to say who it was. Yeah,
Lesnar,
the shooting star press.
Isn't he the reason why it's now banned?
It's not banned.
Isn't it not banned? I thought it was banned by WWE.
I think if
people say that.
Yeah, but if you ban the shooting star press, then Neville has no finisher because there's no way he'd be allowed to do the red arrow.
True.
But but they stopped Lesnar from doing that shit.
The thing is though, like, loads of people have said like he was pulling it off every time in like training or in other matches and stuff, and just this one time
pressure got to him.
Main event of WrestleMania, you'd think so.
Yeah.
But hey,
bless him, eh? Good old Lesnar comes in, can't be asked to do a job with Ambrose at WrestleMania Street Fight. Was it WrestleMania?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
And then pisses off.
Yep. Well, there you go.
There we go. Is that it? Is that a botch in itself? The botch of an ending just suddenly...
Yeah, we just all stopped.
That's fair enough. The one I was going to go on about is just injuries itself, but I suppose we can do injuries on another podcast.
Yeah, I suppose
we could do.
because they're not essentially botches, are they?
No,
not as much.
Not always.
John Cena carrying on when he broke his nose against Seth Rollins. And on that note, thank you for checking out this Figure 4 Radio podcast. We have loads on iTunes, on Stitcher, and again on Podomatic, or simply just go to our website, which is figure4radio.weebly.com. Check us out. Give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/Figure4Radio. Or why not give us a follow and talk to Luke on Instagram and Twitter at Figure4Radio. Anyway, my name's The Killer Car Brand. Thank you for joining us again with Luke Mack.
Thanks very much, everyone.
And Ollie, the Mastermind Spring.
Good hello.
Oh, fuck. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Lock it in.
This has been a Figure 4 Radio production. For more podcasts, go to our website www.figure4radio.weebly.com.